Welcome back. Yahoo's search for a new CEO to succeed Jerry Yang may be coming to an end. A source telling CNBC today that Yahoo is expected to announce former Autodesk CEO Carol Bartz has accepted the offer to run the company. If true, it would end Yahoo's 2-month-long search for Yang's successor. Dylan.
Well, will a new CEO signal anything new for the company? Our panel joins us. Richard Prati, president of Broadpoint AmTech, and Andrew Bartels, vice president of Forrester Research. Andrew, I'll start with you. How much can any CEO, Carol Bartz or anybody else, do with this company?
Well, I think for Yahoo, clearly a lot of struggles they've got. They've been in a box for a while. Certainly a new management can help. But you're right, there still are a lot of problems they're going to have to face if they're going to be meeting the challenge of Microsoft and Google in this marketplace.
I mean, how much of this, Richard, is a new CEO who's been brought in to try to come to a constructive sale of this company where the previous CEO was unable, and how much of this is a CEO that's actually going to attempt to make this a relevant and competitive company over the next 5 to 10 years?
You know, I think our view would be it's a good thing that they replace the CEO. I'm not sure that the former Autodesk chairman's going to be the right choice. I think we would have rather seen Sue Decker or pretty much anyone else. I think it's more of a position of weakness for Yahoo, and it's a challenge for them because I don't think they got the strongest.
What's your answer to my question, though, which is, do you think that the CEO will seek to sell this company to whoever they can sell it to, or will that be their first agenda, or condition it for sale, or will, as Carl Icahn I'm sure would like them to, or will they attempt to try to run this company in some competitive fashion?
You know, I think to the extent that they could find a willing buyer, that would definitely be the way to go. Microsoft being the obvious candidate, barring that from happening, I think they're going to do their best to get it operationally going in the right direction.
Yeah. Andrew, do you agree with that?
I agree with that.
So let's talk about the issues here facing the company, putting the new management in place aside for a moment. What are the biggest challenges that person is going to be dealing with, let's say, in the next 6 months to a year? Andrew.
Well, I think the biggest challenge is the one that's been struggling, hitting Yahoo for a while, which is, where do you play in this market? How do you position yourself? How do you differentiate yourself from Microsoft, from Google? They've lost a lot of traction, so it's really finding out where the direction they could take, or finding someone who can leverage the company and figure out a way of making money from the assets they do have.
Right, the way that Google has certainly done so brilliantly. And Richard, we're talking about doing so in an environment which is probably the toughest that many executives have ever seen.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Plus, they have to contend with the stem of brain drain to better companies where they feel they're going to have a better opportunity for stock appreciation.
What's your particular issue with Carol Bartz?
You know, it just hadn't been good communicating with investors, and I guess people felt a little bit misled with how Autodesk's business has been in the past.
Well, you say that you wanted Sue Decker, but isn't Sue Decker one of the people who basically said Microsoft's $31 a share offer was too low and didn't value the company properly?
You know, I think she more or less had to go with the company line. I think, you know, bottom line, I think people feel more comfortable with her understanding of the business and ability to get it right. I think, yeah, there is a little bit of a legacy management issue, but I just feel like given the choice of those two, she would have been the better.
Yeah, Richard, if you were to look at the industry, in other words, search as a business, is there what, if anything, could not only Yahoo but anybody do at this point to try to even catch up to, let alone be competitive with what Google's now offering?
You know, it's going to be a difficult thing. They obviously have some very strong assets that, you know, it's one of the reasons Microsoft was interested in them to begin with. But to the extent that they've got those assets, if they can get a good operational person in place, you know, I think they have the ability to compete because they do have an awful lot of eyeballs on their assets. But Google clearly is a tough one to compete with.
All right, let's talk about the investment scenario here. Would you be committing new capital to Yahoo stock today at these levels, either of you? Andrew.
I can't comment on that. I don't cover Yahoo in that sense.
Richard?
I would, you know, at these valuations, it's getting cheap, but I think we'd probably like to see it lower, probably below $10 before we'd say valuation's so compelling we feel like we'd have to step up and buy.
So you think things are going to get worse before they get better?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit tough for people. You know, maybe you're going to get a sigh of relief and just anyone different is better at this point, but you know, it's not an expensive stock, but there's not a lot of confidence they're going to turn things around anytime soon.
Is it fair to say we're not going to see 31 anytime soon again, or if ever?
I think that's very fair to say. You know, they could still see a takeout, and you know, they have very attractive assets, and at these levels, maybe someone's going to come back and maybe could see high teens, but better opportunities elsewhere in our view.
Andrew, on the industry, if you look at the macroeconomic variables, how vulnerable not only is Yahoo, in your opinion, but Google and everybody else to the collapse in the ad spend, for instance, or the pullback in the ad spend and the overall pullback in consumption?
Probably less than, let's say, the media companies are. A lot of the media dollars that are going to still go to internet advertising because it's so targeted, it's so effective. Clearly, there'll be some impact, but I think it's very likely you guys could see the internet channel outperform other channels, whether it's broadcast news or broadcast TV or print media. I think there's no question that the internet channels are going to be much more in place that advertisers place their dollars.
Got it. All right, listen, thank you guys. Richard, Andrew, thank you both.
All right, we got 35 minutes before the closing bell sounds.